Hey, I'm Ced Hawkins, and welcome to the 100th episode of the CedTalks Podcast. My guest today, returning to the show, is my uncle. I know he's going to bring some good, kind-hearted words to the show today. So right now, here is my Uncle Sean Hawkins. Sean, welcome back to the show.
Oh, appreciate it, man. I'm glad to be back on your show. It's been a couple of months now, so I've been listening to you, and I'm ecstatic on what you're doing, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Thinking that we did it back in October of last year. Now we are here in July. COVID has obviously changed. A lot has changed in the past 9-10 months or so. So, I mean, it's great to have you back on. Looking to catch up with you with some different topics again. And, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Definitely. So whenever you shoot away, whenever you're ready.
Right off the bat, since COVID has definitely changed since the month of October, how do you feel now that everything has been opening up? Because last fall, we couldn't really tell in hindsight what COVID was bringing, what it was going to do with us. Now, vaccine is out, everything is opening back up, masks are being taken off. So what is your overall opinion with all that going on?
I feel like prior to maybe the last month, I felt like we were getting back to normalcy, or I would say we were seeing a touch of normalcy. I honestly didn't think that. I thought it was going to be a little longer than this, and I say up until the last month, because if you see, this Delta variant, I don't know if you've been following this whole COVID thing, but we have this Delta variant of this virus starting to kind of show its head. So it was a lot of hope, and I still have hope, I think, but I think we still can't get too lenient right now with the mask and things. I know we have the vaccines and all that, and that's great, but I just feel like right now is not the time for us to kind of loosen up on certain things. Like, the gatherings and everything are great, but, we still have to be mindful that it's not over just yet. And I think that's the main thing. Just be mindful and just still have a little bit of, have a little precaution when you go out there and you in these gatherings with friends and families and things to that nature. But it still is a lot better than it was last year. A whole lot better. But we're not there yet, so... I just say, just take it one day at a time until this thing is really, really done and over with.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's weird because, you go from 1 month to having all these restrictions, and then the next month, all these restrictions are being lifted. Everybody's taking their mask off, and now it's not a requirement to wear your mask, and stuff is starting to open back up, and we're starting to get back to the way things used to be. And it's worrisome in a lot of ways because this virus is still out there and people are still catching it. So it's like you think that maybe I am going to catch it or maybe I'm not going to catch it. So if all these rules are relaxed and everybody's taking their mask off, well, maybe I should take mine off. But at the end of the day, there's still that risk that you can catch it. And everyone who catches the virus, they feel different. Some people, they're in the hospital. Some people, they don't feel any symptoms whatsoever. So it's really tough when you think about it with me, when I think about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Like I said, I think this whole thing took everybody by surprise. This was a shocker to everybody. Never in our lifetime did we ever think that we would see something like this. You see things like this is straight out of a movie if you think about it. And people have talked about it, and you see news and you see Discovery Channel things talking about pandemics and things, but nobody ever thought about it. And it's kind of crazy to see, I think, that you have a group of people who are all still with the mask and taking those cautionary measures, and then you have this other group of people who've got the vaccine and just feel like life is back to normal again. And that's good to see in a sense, but me personally, I don't feel like we're there yet. I just don't feel like that normal that we talk about, the old norm. I don't think we'll ever see that old norm again. I'll be honest with you. I think we'll still have a lot of people out there who, even once they say this thing is good and undone and over with, I think there's still people out there as just, that'll be reminiscent of this whole ordeal, and will kind of just continue living the life now with masks, with just washing hands more often, just doing a lot of sanitary things, a lot of just things being mindful. it's just interesting. You know, some people want to kick down the doors and say, let's live our lives. And then you just have those people who just like, you know, y'all need to be careful. You know, we need to be careful about this whole situation. But I don't know, man. It's just a big a line, a division right now. So it's just, what side are you on right now, I feel like.
Right. I know with me, I have a lot of hesitancy, you know, stepping back into the world, given that we were in this pandemic for a whole year and a half,
Right.
with going back to school full time, stepping on campus with a bunch of people again, with less restrictions and whatnot. Would you say you also have those feelings of hesitancy going back to what you were doing originally before the pandemic started? Now that stuff is starting to become less strict?
Absolutely. Again, it goes back to this whole, we having variants out here. And again, with the vaccine and everything like that, it's good. Even people with this natural immunity thing who've had it, I just, you know, it makes you think, because it's a scary situation. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a very, very scary situation because of what has happened. Realizing that we've never dealt with something like this, no one ever planned for it, and just realizing what has happened, how many people have succumbed to this virus, and you know, now we're here. And everything, you just don't know if it's safe to do what you want to do again and just live your life. Or, you know, there's always this doubt. And me personally, I have this doubt. I still have doubt, because you can look at a lot of the news channels, you can look at a lot of TV, and we're still not there yet. I mean, it's clearly we're still not there yet. But again, a lot of individuals feel like they're adamant about, let's live our lives. You know, I've got the shot. Or some feel like, you know, I have the antibodies because I've gotten infected. But I just don't feel like, you know, we should be naive to that degree just yet. I don't think that. And who knows if this virus will go away completely. You know, this might be like the flu. You know, the yearly flu. You know, if you want to take the shot, like the flu shot every year, it could be something like that. And then they're talking about booster shots and everything. We may need another booster shot. But things like this, when you have like the WHO and you have the CDC and everybody talking about, you know, we still have to, again, to take those precautions. So I don't think people should be naive just yet. And again, I still have certain hesitancy about when I go back to work that I am right now. And, you know, still kind of distancing, maybe not 6 feet, but it is still a little bit of distance, like maybe 2 feet, or, you know, and we still wear masks at my job. So, yeah, I still have hesitancy, and I still have, I'm just mindful about the whole thing. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, likewise. Funny story. I was at Chipotle the other night, and, you know, I'm sitting there placing my order, and I'm kind of used to the point that nobody had their mask on and whatnot.
Right.
And this one lady, she was placing her order, but she was, like, really close to me.
Yeah.
I'm talking, like, on my arm, close
Right.
to me, real close to me.
Yeah.
And so I ain't asked her to back up, you know, because I'm just sitting there. But she just kept getting closer and closer and closer, to the point that once I got to the register, I just backed off, and I, like, stood all the way in the back a little bit until it was my time to, you know, pay for my food and whatnot, and then I rolled out and left. But it was just the fact that she had no mask on, and she was that physically, you know, close to me in my space. You know, I got a little freaked out. It's like, you close to me, like, back up a little bit. So it's like we're back to that mentality where we were before the virus, where everybody's in each other's space,
Right.
in each other's bubbles and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's definitely tough, but I
Right.
think, you know, I'll still distance myself. I'll still back away when I'm in public and stuff like that. Because a lot of people, they don't really care.
No, a lot of people don't care. And even before this, when it was pre-pandemic, there was still people, man, who invade your space and, you know, be in your bubble, as you say, you know what I mean? And that's just the way life was. But now I think on top of this, those people who were very, again, adamant about people in their space like that, I think, you know, this has kind of escalated it to 100 and above, as far as people just give me my space. I want my space. And people are verbal and vocal about it now, because they have this COVID thing as a, you know, kind of like I don't want to say a crutch, but they have it as a reason to say, look, we're still in this pandemic. We still have this thing going on. Keep your distance from me, you know, and that's just what it is. Mm-hmm. So I understand that. And again, this 6 feet thing, I don't know if the 6 feet thing, I don't know if people really were abiding by that to begin with.
Right.
But, you know, and I honestly think from the reports that I've read, they're saying that the 6 feet rule was not really effective anyway. But I don't know. I understand 6 feet, distancing. I mean, that's just case in point. But people just they want their space, and you have to be mindful of that. You have to respect it. You know what I'm saying? But this is a whole new world we living in, and we have to adjust and we have to accept it. Some people don't want to accept it again, but there's a lot of people who feel like, there's new rules and there's new regulations here that people need to abide by. But,
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that, adjusting to certain situations. We've had lots of conversations over the years about that.
Right.
Talk to me, go in depth about that, like just the importance of adjusting to certain situations that are out of your control. Because a lot of times in life, we are put in situations that they make us uncomfortable.
Right.
We don't want to be in them. We feel like we don't deserve to be where we're at, and we feel like we need to be, doing something different, or we should be, someplace better. But we have to be able to adjust and be comfortable being uncomfortable in order to better ourselves and in order to be promoted to something new or something different.
Oh, absolutely.
What helps you stay comfortable in certain situations where you feel uncomfortable?
I think, like you just said, I think it's just realizing that when you're in a uncomfortable situation, it will allow you to kind of rise, you know what I'm saying, to either learn something new, just gain a new experience. But it's all for the better. As they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So you also got to put that in the back of your mind. Whether it's just like being a public speaker, learning to be a public speaker. You may be uncomfortable in the situation, but somewhere in your mind, you have to realize that this is all for an improvement. This is all bettering me for the future. So, so you look at these situations, what has been put in place as far as things that we may be uncomfortable with, or it's just not suited for us. It's I would say it's just for the betterment, if not just for us, for the betterment of the entire cause, for not us, just for everybody. So you also have to put that in perspective. And I just think you can't be selfish. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can't be selfish about your own personal needs and wants. Let me say wants, not necessarily needs, but your own personal wants, especially when it comes to how it affects other people, whether, health-wise or physically. So these things, I try not to be a selfish person. I try my best not to be. So understanding, the necessities of what we need to do here, you kind of got to put yourself and what you want on the back burner. You know what I mean? But a lot of people, I'm not going to say a lot, but there are individuals and people out there who are just, they have a selfish, I guess, a selfish characteristic. And, it's very difficult for them. And like you say, it's uncomfortable, I think, because, I want to do what I want to do and I want to do it right now. So I don't know. That's something like that is a learning experience, and it requires growth, I think. So I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think with me, it always goes back to the Lord. I feel like with these situations, it always goes back to the Lord and us wanting us to grow and develop and prepare us for something new in the end.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. I mean, without God and, right there, I mean, and I didn't even mention it. I'm ashamed I didn't even mention that. But yeah, obviously, if it's not for the Lord, man, the Lord gives you understanding on everything. And with me, I try to get, the scriptures say, through all you go through, get an understanding. So this right here, and I think we might have even touched on this the last time we did this podcast, but, you got to get an understanding of why you're going through something and why God has put you in a certain place, I think. And this whole scenario, this whole situation with this pandemic and this virus, there's a reason behind it. And I believe that, again, I don't know if you have a lot of religious listeners or whatever, so, but, me personally, I feel like my God, has done this and kind of brought this thing to the forefront so people could understand that we were not in control necessarily. Is sometimes is above our understanding, but we have to understand that, first of all, we need to just stick together on these things. As far as like the whole toilet paper situation, the hand sanitizers, and you can't find anything because people are just kind of bogarting and I can't think of the word right now, just hoarding everything. again, it's just selfish things, and these are the things that I feel like should come to your mind when situations like this take place. But some people, again, they continue to just live their life in a selfish manner. But again, I try not to do that. Mm-hmm. And I think most people shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Because in the end, it's still going to come back and haunt you in a sense. But we have to learn. Some people learn the hard way. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's happening right now. We're learning the hard way. And to me, I think this is a God, something I think bestowed by God himself.
Right. Definitely. One thing I do want to touch on later on is mental health, how your mental health was shaped by the pandemic, if it's improved in any way since the last time we spoke on the podcast or not. Right. But I know in the past, you were a content creator at one point. You uploaded videos on YouTube, boxing reviews and whatnot. Right. When you were younger, let's say my age, was that always in the back of your mind, content creation, making, videos and stuff?
Nah, because I say that because when I was your age, the internet wasn't that big just yet.
That's true.
Podcasts, YouTube, social media, that was a thing nobody ever thought about. And had I had the time, if it was out at that time, being, the age you are, if I was that age now, definitely. I would definitely try to take every opportunity. And I'm still kind of dabbling with it. But, it's just not enough time in the day, as I just mentioned. But I would definitely try to dabble in it at that time when if the technology was there. But now it's here, so I think all the opportunities to do whatever you want to do, the information is out there, all that, and there should be no excuse for anybody to go out there and just pursue whatever goals they have, because again, the information is there, the technology is there, the ability to network and reach out to people. If you're not able to at least attempt to, again, pursue whatever it is that you're trying to do, I feel like, man, that's just a personal problem that you have. And that might be something that you have to work on a little bit. You know what I mean? I think it's just something you might have to learn, that you need to have a little more drive in your life to reach those goals. But, everything is there. Everything is at our fingertips. So, again, to answer your question, again, if I was in your shoes at your age, 20 years previous, I would definitely jump on the opportunity to, shoot for whatever dreams I have, which I'm trying now. Now that everything is there at my what's the word?
Fingertips.
Yeah, my fingertips, at my disposal.
Right.
So yeah. So I say, if you out there, you listening, if you got a goal, you got a dream, you got an ambition, I say shoot for it, because it's there for you. So shoot for it.
Yeah, I know that was me. With the podcast, this was always in the back of my mind. Even before the pandemic, I just never really jumped on it, just because I didn't really think I had the tools necessary to go out and make a podcast for myself. And then when the pandemic happened and we were shut down and I couldn't really go anywhere, the idea of the podcast came back in mind again. So I just looked up, basic, tips on how to start a podcast, and I found the app. I downloaded it. They had a simple record button. All I had to do was talk in front of it, like hold my speaker up against the volume against my phone, and then that audio would direct into my phone, and it would be able to pick up on the audio. And so once I started doing that, I was like, I think I have something going on right here.
Yeah.
But if I had never jumped on that, like you had just said earlier, I knew I would have regrets even right now if I knew that I didn't jump on that idea of making a podcast and building something that I knew that I could do. I definitely have regrets. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it definitely teaches me to always go all in with my goals and what I have in mind.
Right. And definitely with this shutdown, this quarantining, and the whole pandemic again. And I feel like I'm going to use that word pandemic a lot through this whole thing. But I think it opened a lot of people's eyes, especially being home and realizing that the technology is right in front of you, to just, you have a camera, you have a recorder, you have microphones. You could just use your phone, and you could do a lot, all by yourself. Again, things are at your disposal. The software is there, apps and everything. So, content creation, I think a lot of people in the last year, from what I've gathered, have done things pertaining to content creation. And just going online and realizing they want to try something new or learn something new, whether it's cooking, whether it's working on your car, whether it's just find a new skill or trade or something. You know what I mean? Wood shop, things like that. This last year has opened a lot of people's mind and broadened a lot of people's horizon. I think pertaining to what they can do now. You know what I mean? It's giving a lot of people some insight on, hey, I could do this. Maybe we could try this. We got nothing but time, so let's try it. And a lot of people are just going out there and is just just shooting towards the stars. So it's I think it's a blessing in disguise. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This whole thing. I feel like a lot of lives were lost, but I think a lot of people have, in a sense, benefited in a weird way to kind of to improve their lives. So I think it's a unique situation. But yeah.
Right. When you set up that YouTube channel and you were getting ready to start putting those videos out, what made you make that jump? What made you decide and say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and do this. This is on my mind. I'm going to just go all in and do it. What was that motivating factor for you?
Just realizing that you've seen people on there and, when you have the time and you're sitting home and you can't go out and socialize with your friends and family like that, and you just sit home and, some people we're doing the TikTok thing. Some people on YouTube doing things, looking up information, and just coming across, and you see a lot of content creators, just living their dream, talking about the things that they had a passion for. It kind of inspired me to just say, hey, why not try it? So you go in there and you get the information on how to start it, and one thing leads to another, and you find you got a camera and you got some lights, and you just test it, and you realize this isn't so bad. It's just the social speaking part, and realizing once you put something out there for the world to see, it's out there now, and that could be a little frightening, and you can take a step back and think about it. It can be overwhelming to think about, but again, I think that's coming out your comfort zone and just doing something new. You see what I'm saying? And it's a whole new world, I think, once you go out there and try it. But it improves you and makes you a better person somehow, some way. Just trying to conquer fear. So for me, I think that's what inspired me, just realizing that other people who were in that kind of niche genre of the sport of boxing, they were doing it. So it made me just say, hey, I can do the same thing. Mm-hmm. If one person conquers something or have done something, that means anybody else can do it. You just have to, I think, apply yourself and, not falter when it gets a little uncomfortable and hard for you. But in the end, it's all going to make you a better person when you come out that comfort zone. It has to. Either you'll waver or you'll stand tall in the end. So
right. Like, I definitely agree with you, especially with this podcast with me, because usually I'm such a reserved and quiet person. I'm not out there trying to make contact with a lot of people. Even in my personal life, I'm not really talking to my friends like that. We can go 2 or 3 weeks without even talking to each other. So It's like starting this podcast, reaching out to people who I don't even know, but I feel like we both share the same vision of life, and we have the same things going for us with college and just our hobbies and whatnot, and just taking that step out to reach out to them and see if they want to appear on the show. Like that takes a lot out of me to do, but it's a lot of discipline, and I got to be uncomfortable so I can get comfortable and make those necessary steps. So once I started doing that, it's like now I feel somewhat comfortable asking people to be on the show.
Right.
And when I'm conducting the interviews, sometimes, I don't even have any questions like laid out. It's just off the cuff.
Right.
Everything is just natural, no script, no nothing. Even this with you and I, this is all natural.
Right.
I ain't got nothing. I'm just going off everything off the top of my head. But I've been doing this for, a year plus now. I've gotten comfortable and I've gotten used to everything. So it's like now I know like what I need to do. If I had just stopped like I wanted to stop in the beginning, I don't think I would have really gotten this far.
Right. Well, let me turn the interview on you for a second then, since we're talking about getting comfortable. At what point do you think along your journey that you're going on right now as far as the podcast, when do you feel like you started to get into that comfort zone to say, you know what, I think I got this thing handled a little bit, I got a grasp on this, and now I feel like I know exactly how this thing needs to be kind of worked? When do you think in that period, within the last year, because it's been over a year, I think, when do you think you reached that point? I mean, was it was it in the wintertime? Was it earlier this year in 2021? When do you think you reached that point?
I would say it was in the wintertime, early 2021. I remember I had an interview with Brene, shout out Brene, and I was interviewing her. I had all my questions laid out and whatnot, and the phone was going. We were sitting there talking, and the phone went completely black, but the audio was still recording, and I didn't really look down at my questions anymore.
Right.
Everything that I had wanted to ask, I just asked her straight away, immediately, without needing to look at my questions. So that showed me that I think I can do this without having to write down my questions all the time.
Right.
And then I had my one friend Olivia on the show in January. I wrote down all my questions again on a piece of paper, sent it to her just to see, what we can discuss on the show.
Right.
And when I was interviewing her, I didn't even look down at my notebook pad. And I remember at the end of the episode, I said, I don't even know why I had this out. I don't even need it. And I kind of tossed it to the back a little bit.
Right.
So it was with that showed me that, okay, I can do this without needing to write questions. I can do it kind of off the cuff because I know what I'm going to ask, and I have different topics and ideas in mind, because we could be having a conversation and you could bring up a certain topic, and then I could have a follow-up question for that. I think we were talking about adjusting to, uncomfortable situations. You had mentioned that earlier. Right. And then I just asked you a follow-up question like that. Yeah. If I had followed it script by script by script, it doesn't really come off as natural. It doesn't come off as a conversation.
Right.
So without the questions, I think it helps the conversation flow really well.
Right.
And then it makes people feel more comfortable, and they feel less stressed out knowing that, okay, Cedric wrote down 20 questions. Now we're on question 3. Oh boy, we got a long way to go. So yeah, it definitely, helped out.
Right.
But that was the moment, I think, early 2021, this winter, where I felt comfortable not writing down any questions anymore.
I agree. I mean, I think we talked about it. I think we're in a society now where people with podcasts and, content creation, I'll just say mainly podcasts and even channels on like YouTube and things to that degree. There's so much content, there's so much media out there. People gravitate towards the things that are relatable to them. You know what I mean? That's what we gravitate to. That's what catches our attention, is things that we can kind of understand. You know what I mean? Like comedy. Some people, comedy and laughing, it's subjective. What one person finds funny, another person might not find funny because it's not relatable to them. So that's why they say comedy is subjective. But, with content creation and, like, for example, your podcast, I think you have the audience that you have because somehow they kind of gravitate towards it. And I think people I feel like I can relate when somebody is being kind of just being not organic, but I think they're being genuine. Mm-hmm. When people are being genuine and being themselves, I think it comes off, and being sincere about what they are, who they are, and what they're trying to come across, how they're trying to come across and what they're trying to promote. You kind of, again, I say gravitate, but you kind of pick up on that, and that's what makes us like the things that we like. And with your audience, it's something about, and I'm sure they can tell if, in the beginning, how you say it was kind of scripted, but now it's got to the point where you don't even realize you may have questions, but, it's not necessarily scripted, like, on paper or something to that degree. Mm-hmm. And I think we in a society now, we would, look at presidents, the presidents we have. I'm not a political person, but you look at Trump. Trump is one of the most considered far-fetched or off the wall. I mean, he's blunt. He speaks his mind, and I think for being a president, we've never seen anything like that before. And he just speaks his mind. And it's just he's off the script, and I think people kind of gravitate to people who they feel being honest and being themselves. So, I mean, I enjoy that, and I can see the progression in your channel. So, I think it's all about, man, just being sincere. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. So anybody, I feel like if you're trying to do something pertaining to content creation, whatever you do, I think if you be sincere about it, I think the success will come. You know what I mean? I think the success will come if you're just honest about what it is you're trying to do and honest in your own abilities. I think, again, the sky's the limit, just taking it step by step. But, people can sense these things as far as if you're coming off real or not. So I promote that 100%. And just far as, again, with the podcast or whatever you're doing, I just say being genuine is the main thing.
Mm-hmm. I think what also helped me was realizing which category my podcast fell in.
Right.
Because we've had that conversation also where you've asked me, like, where you would ask me, like, where do you see your podcast as? Like, which direction would you like to go?
Right.
Or what category do you fall under?
Right.
And I always kind of struggle with that because I never really knew, like, where I was at.
Right.
And sometimes when I would be on, Apple Podcasts or Spotify, they'd ask me to find a category or a subject to which my podcast was all about.
Right.
And I never really knew. So sometimes I would say self-improvement. Mm-hmm. And I say that my podcast is a self-improvement, but I'd also like it to be like a mental health platform where, we talk about mental health. We talk about some of the struggles that we faced and everything that we've overcome to get to this certain point in our life now as we're speaking. Right. And we're always going to struggle mentally. We're always going to have our battles. So even if me and my guest are struggling in the moment, we can always come up with solutions and ways in which we can stay encouraged and keep moving forward, because, that's what it's all about at the end of the day, staying encouraged and having that desire to rise every morning.
Right. And again, I think that's something we talked about your platform, as far as the encouragement part and motivation, especially in today's time, man. I think more now than ever, we need motivation. We need that encouragement, to inspire people to just go out there and just live their lives. With the mental health thing is real. You look at 30 years ago, we weren't talking about mental health. It was just having a bad day. You'll get through it and just keep moving and keep living your life. Not realizing it was a long duration. It wasn't just a one night or one day thing. It wasn't just a week thing. Some people deal with these things throughout their entire lives. But now more than ever, it's been brought to the forefront as far as, people really are going through things mentally, and it needs to be spoke about. But and so again, this platform that you have, I'm all for encouragement. Striving to be a godly person, a spiritual person. We need that in a time of what we're going through now, as far as with TV and the news, and as they say, if it bleeds, it leads, and everyone's looking for the next catastrophic thing. I talk about comedy, and I looked at articles about what happened to comedies as far as movies. Now if you look at television, things seem to be so dramatic, and you have reality TV where everyone's just kind of cussing one another out and just all this drama and back and forth. It's just a lot, man. And I think that weighs on a lot of people because people can't escape somehow. And this last year, I say it was a blessing in disguise for some people, but that for some other people, it really affected them. It really hit home. So things like this, your what you have going on in your platform, and a lot of others who are doing similar things, is of great importance right now. So again, I encourage you and anyone who's doing the same thing to just keep up the movement, because there's a lot of people, I think, who are really hurting right now.
Yeah.
So
I agree, because I also fell into that category coming out of high school a little bit, where if I had a bad day, I would say, okay, it's just a bad day, it'll pass over. And yeah, it passed over, but that issue would still linger, and it would come back and affect me again, right. Let's say 2 days from that prior bad day, or a few weeks from then, and it would always stick with me. And I never really knew how to overcome those issues internally that I was battling until I reached out and talked to people about it. But growing up, like you said, you're just having a bad day, just keep pressing forward, keep moving on, and then you'll get through it. But it was hard doing that because it's still bothering you, but you don't really know how to push on and conquer that struggle that's going on inside of you and move on to the next thing. But I think once I started talking with more people in the family, talking with my friends more about my mental health and some of my struggles, things started looking better for me. Right. And even to this day now, it's a struggle to reach out and talk to people if I'm feeling a certain type of way. But I learned when I do it, I'm taking my issues that are inside and I'm letting it out. And by letting it out, I'm helping myself, and I'm learning those necessary tools that I need as a young man to keep progressing and keep moving. Because you never want to be stagnant in life, just sitting in one place and you don't really know how to move. So I definitely think that by talking about my issues with other people on the show and listening to other people also, it just teaches me that, we have to keep this conversation going on mental health.
Definitely. The conversation, speaking about it, if you don't converse and talk to people about it, and you just kind of, I believe, suppressing it and just kind of bottling it up, and it's just going to blow up. It's going to be like a powder keg, just ready to explode at some point. So you have to definitely speak to people, because in speaking with people, you realize that you're not alone, and you have people who can relate to you. And again, this is why this mental health thing is such a real thing, because people felt like it was just a bad day. You're having a bad day, and it's just something you'll get over. But at some point, people found out that it wasn't just a bad day. You know what I mean? This is a real situation. Whether you want to call it depression, whether you want to call it something else, it's a real thing. But I feel like you have to talk about it. Before anything else, when you're having some kind of battling some issues internally, you definitely need to speak about it. Or again, it's just going to blow up at some point. And that's why I think we have some of those events that happened in the past with certain, school shootings. Again, I hate to be grim about things, but these are things I believe people just haven't spoke about. People basically hurt people, so again, you have to speak about it. You have to talk about it. And again, once you talk to people or talk to a group of individuals or just an individual, you'll realize that at some point, hey, I didn't realize that you felt the same way, or you're experiencing the same things or battling the same things. So now it makes me go back and I can reflect and know how to kind of navigate a little better, and knowing that I'm not the only one fighting this thing. So, but I mean, as you went along, I'm gonna ask you, as you went along and you spoke to people and you speak to people on the podcast, it kind of opened your eyes, I guess. And did you find out that people were kind of in the same predicament as you, or I don't want to say predicament, but did you feel like people were experiencing similar things?
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I would have people on the show from high school who I didn't really talk to,
right?
And we graduated together, and I reach out to them and I say, "Hey, do you want to be on the show?" And they say, "Yeah." And we're talking, and then while we're talking, they just say, I'm gonna be very open about my mental health and my struggles with mental health, and that takes me by surprise, because I looked at them in a different way or in a different light going to school with them.
Right.
I put them on this platform, on this high standard, and I thought they were all this and that and they were all perfect, when
right.
It turns out they were not like that. So it really opened my eyes and showed me that I was never the only one going through my struggles in high school and that first year of college, that I wasn't the only one who was really struggling to find themselves coming out of high school, because that's a big thing. And I feel like TV and movies, they lie about that. They lie about the high school experience or the college experience. Once you graduate, everything is all great. It's just parties and, you're just living life and you're having a good time. And sometimes that's just not the case for some people. A lot of people struggle to really find themselves when they graduate that first year or two or three. And sometimes it takes them a while to find themselves. And it's definitely difficult. And yeah, it definitely took me by surprise. And it showed me that I was never alone and how I was feeling, and that everybody who is my age, be it 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, we're all in this similar boat where we're all still trying to find ourselves. And yeah, we have certain goals that we want to achieve, but it's all about figuring out how do we get to those goals. I think that's the big struggle for my generation, because you have social media also. You see people graduating, getting their degrees, buying houses, or getting married or having kids, and you're sitting here in your 20s or you're coming out of your teens just really hustling, and you're wondering, when are you going to have all those things? And that's another subject, because that ties into social media as well.
Yeah.
But to answer that question, yeah, it really did shock me and take me by surprise, knowing that I was never alone in my struggles with my mental health.
Yeah, that image, everyone's trying to portray an image, I think. And, once you get to go behind the curtain, you'll realize that the image you saw, again, in the in front of that curtain, once you pull it back, that image and what you see as the truth of what's really happening is an eye opener, because the smiles for some people, there's a lot of pain behind certain people's eyes, but you don't really find that out until a person opens up to you. Mm-hmm. And we live by pride. There's a lot of ego that people live with, and some people may not ever open up and show that real person. And hopefully, if you can get through this world, if you have no problems, if you're fine with your life and how you're living and everything, that's a great thing. But you have to be genuine to somebody at some point. You have to be genuine. But yeah, whether you're 17, 18 years old, because I know you have your friends and that demographic, but even people who's maybe 60, 70 years old are going through things, and they have grown up to realize that we don't talk about those things. We endure and we move on. But again, you have to speak to somebody. If you have to talk. And again, we mentioned that in the last podcast. It's a serious thing that you have to talk. Everybody needs to talk to somebody. You just can't sit home or just lock yourself into deadlock yourself into your phone and just live vicariously through other people. You just can't do that. It's not healthy, and it just doesn't make sense to me. But I say again, just talk. You have to talk.
Yeah, I agree. On the subject of mental health, how do you feel about your mental health from the last time that we talked back in October? Do you feel like it's improved now that everything is starting to open back up? Do you feel like it's kind of same in the middle, or do you think it's kind of, decreased?
I would say it may be still somewhere in the middle, because I again, striving to be a godly person. Again, I'm seeking to look for understanding, and realize that things that happen in this world, some things are just out of your control. And you have to accept that, some things you have are out of your means, your grasp, for you to just alter or make any changes to. You have to accept it, and you have to adapt and adjust to it. And this is one of those things. So I think I've had that kind of mindset before COVID even took place. So I kind of accepted that what was going on. Again, it was an eye opener. It was a shocker, because no one, again, experienced this. We never dealt with this before. So how we were going to go forward was kind of unreal. I mean, so again, I'll say personally, me, I think my mindset as far as mental health, I think it was okay. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I feel like nothing's really changed with me as far as the mental health thing. Mm-hmm. Nothing's really changed. My concern for other people, I think that was a big thing, for elders and things to that degree. And, but as far as how I feel about it and where my mind was at, I think it was pretty much neutral. Mm-hmm. So that's where I was at.
Yeah. I think with me, I was like in the middle, but I feel like I feel like I've improved in my mental health, but I still feel like I'm in that middle ground because, I got stuff going. I'm still trying to figure stuff out for myself. I'm grieving. I'm still trying to go through college, still trying to figure stuff out with that. And I got other stuff too, as you said, trying to be a godly person. And you see other people doing certain things with their life, and you think that may benefit you also. But in the back of my mind, I know that that's not a route that I need to go. For example, I got friends and cousins that like to drink and do all that stuff, but I just know that that's not right for me and that's not good for me. So I shouldn't partake in what they're doing just because it's making them feel good. Right. I don't sacrifice my values just to make them feel good. I just do my thing. So right. In a lot of ways, I think it's improved, since our conversation in October, but there's still a lot of work to be done. I still feel like I'm in that middle ground.
Yeah, I feel like improvement, you're gonna always have to improve your life, because you just don't know. I mean, you go from your teens, you'll be learning stuff. Your 20s, there'll be new things you have to learn about. Say credit. Write a check. I mean, just things you're gonna have to learn as life goes on. Buying a house, taking care of kids and a family. It's gonna be a learning process throughout your entire life. And again, it's going to be uncomfortable because you feel like I've never been in this predicament before. But hopefully through talking to other people, I feel like you know, you just have to realize that, okay, I'm here in this situation, and I'm gonna have to just proceed and find a way to resolve whatever it is that I'm trying to just resolve, I guess. But it's always going to be an uncomfortable situation in your life, no matter what. Mm-hmm. No matter where you're at in your life. No, again, you could be an elementary school kid or you could be a senior citizen, but there's always going to be some kind of, it may be some kind of battle that you're going to always be greeted with, and you're going to have to find a way to overcome. And that's part of life.
Yeah. When did you get to that point or that age where you realized that you had to let go of certain situations and you just had to, you know, do what you had to do in order to get out of that situation?
It's going to be kind of funny. This is going to be funny because when I realized that I was going to have to overcome, I think my first breakup. You know, that's kind of odd for some people maybe, but when you are in a relationship with someone, I think is with the situation as far as you build a routine. When you build a routine, and say you're in a relationship, you're dating someone, or whatever it is, or you have a job. Say you have a job that you've been working for 15, 20 years, and you have a routine. You've been doing this thing for many years, pretty much. You've been doing it for many years, and now, say it's been taken from you. Now you have to find a way to overcome the routine because the routine is over with. And now you feel like you're in a black hole because I don't know where to go now. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get out of this situation because I've never been here before. You know, again, I say either, you know, with me, it was the relationship because, you know, you're with somebody, you have a routine, you date this person, we go out, we go to dinner, we go here, we might go to, say you go dancing, you do this and do that, but then it doesn't work out anymore. So now, you know, the rug has been pulled from underneath you. So you have to adjust to a new life, in a sense, quote unquote. You have to adjust to a new way of living. You know, you have to find new things to occupy yourself with, and find that'll be a new chapter of your life, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So that's why I say I used a relationship because at a young age, I was like maybe 20, 21 years old, and you know, you get acclimated to this life of being with somebody, and again, you have a routine, and the routine is no longer there. So now it's a void, and now you have to find a way to fill that void. Some people, again, it could be a job, it could be a loss of a loved one. You know, it's a void somewhere, and now you have to kind of, again, acclimate yourself and find a way to overcome this hole, I guess. And you know, it could be something different for everybody, but for me, to answer your question, it was a relationship. It was having a girlfriend and no longer having a girlfriend. So then you have to find a way to just create that second part of your that second chapter, I guess. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting thing, but yeah, I think loneliness is a big one. Loneliness is a big one for a lot of people to try to find a way to overcome that. You know, some people need to get involved with somebody. Some people need to just work. Some people need to do something just to do something. But again, you know, you have to find some kind of way to adjust to not having something or someone. But for me, to answer your question, to the long way around it was just for me, was just not being in a relationship anymore. That was for me when I realized I had to overcome something.
Got you. Yeah, I understand. I think with me, it's something I'm still trying to work and overcome is whenever school ends for me, that just ends the routine of everything that I've had for 3 to 4 months. So now it's exactly. Like, I got nothing. All I got is work. I've been working for pretty much 3 hours every day out of the week. Now those hours are going to have to increase because now I got time on my hand. I'm not going to just sit down and do nothing. I want to make money. So Now I got to go to work. And now I got to adjust to being there a little bit longer. And it always hits me, whether it's the month of December and I'm getting out of school or the month of May and I'm getting out of school. It's like having this routine of going online, doing my classes, having a little bit of free time to meditate, maybe work out for a little bit, take a nap, then go to work at 3 o'clock, get off and chill out and get ready for a new day. And then that routine gets taken away once the semester ends, and it's like I got to figure out how to adjust to this new routine that I have. And again, it's going to hit me again in August when I go back to school, because I'm going to have my classes again, and I'm going to have to figure out a routine and a schedule that can accommodate everything that I got going on, and that can keep me mentally sane and keep me from not just completely shutting down completely. So yeah, it's definitely tough, but I feel like as I've been progressing in college, I feel like I've gotten, better at it. And it's like you said, just figuring out ways to adjust, because eventually there's going to be a point where you don't have anything going on and you have to be, by yourself. And that's tough for a lot of people. Even for me, sometimes it really hits me that I ain't got nothing going on tonight, really. But I mean, I'd rather be doing nothing than to be caught up in something with somebody that I really don't want to be with, and they in my ear, and then it's just tough. But I feel like as I get older, I'll be able to adjust more.
Yeah, that just like how you talk about the podcast, and at first you felt like why, just having those doubts. But then as time goes on, you get your footing, I guess, and then from there, once you get your footing, you kind of can kind of see what you need to do, and you get comfortable with the situation. But it's just that overcoming that initial step. Like my grandfather, your great grandfather, always said, like, for example, running, or just say like the doctor wanted him to walk, and he didn't want to walk. He just didn't want to walk. He'd rather just sit home and go do whatever he want to do. But for health reasons, he needed to walk. But he always talked about the hardest part is just starting. Once you start something, it's just overcoming that initial beginning. Because once you get your stride, then you're just in it now where you don't want to stop. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm having fun with it. But it's just the overcoming the initial steps of doing something. But and again, with school, you have that void between school sessions and everything. But some way, somehow, you kind of know you can. Starting off when your first time going to school, and then I think when you have the summer breaks or those holiday breaks and things to that degree, in the beginning you probably didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? You were just kind of just lost, I guess, just looking around, I guess, and you just feeling like I got to do something, but I just can't do anything. But now I'm pretty sure to some degree, I don't know what necessarily, because I know you have the podcast, I know you're busy with other things, but you just know how to, again, adjust and prepare for things because you've been there before. So it's all about the experiences and what you've learned from those experiences to get you to the next step. And that's a very important thing. The experiences is what I think helps us all. It's the experiences. This is what makes us wiser and gives us wisdom. But, you have to take the steps to want to get into the experience. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Once you get into the experience and you live it and you endure it, you deal with it, now you know how to handle it. And then you can also share that wisdom with other people as years go on, the next generation of people, and this is what makes the world a better place, I think. You sharing that wisdom and helping other people get through those same things. But that goes back to the having of this, conversing and talking to people. So there's a lot to it, but definitely you have to just go through that uncomfortable phase with anything.
Right.
So
I feel like when I have like a week or maybe 2 weeks where I'm not really doing nothing hobby wise, I feel like that's just the Lord trying to talk to me and try to help me plan my next steps and what I need to do. Because there are some times with the podcast where I don't really have a lot of guests coming in, and when it comes to my episodes, people want to hear my guests. They want to hear about their life and what they've overcome, because I've done it where I've talked by myself and the views aren't, and I like that. But when I have different people on the show, that's where my viewership comes in.
Right.
So I remember going through my list of episodes a while back, and from September all the way to March, I produced 2 episodes every single week for 6 months. I did all of that, for every single week. Wow. And I look back at that and I think, man, like that's crazy. I don't know how I had all of that energy, all of that momentum going, but I think that was just adrenaline. I think that was just me wanting to continue to press forward, stay encouraged, and I just produced all these episodes. So once that kind of stopped, I got really burnt out, in March, because I had been doing that for 6 months, and I had to take a step away for like a few weeks, kind of figure out the next direction in which I wanted my show to go. But once I figured out that direction, it was back to it, back staying consistent, dropping 2 episodes every week, just being consistent just to get to this 100th episode, which is what I have now.
Right.
Even right now, I'm still trying to figure out the direction and where I want the show to go, because episode 100 was always the goal.
Yeah.
Now that it's here, it's like, now what? I think I still want to keep going, keep producing more episodes, but, you know, it's all about listening. I feel like when you don't have anything going to you, or for you, I think that's just the Lord trying to speak to you, trying to let you know what you need to do next. And then once he gives you that direction, you know, you got to go.
Right.
And I remember a gospel song where she said, God told me to go left, and then I went right. But, you know, when he tells you to do something, you got to go and do it. So
right.
I'm just waiting for that voice to come.
Yeah, you definitely have to. And I don't know if I told you, but someone told me once that, again, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans, because whatever your plans are, God has a way of intervening. And again, you want to go right, and he's going to say go left. You know what I mean? Or he's not even going to say go left. He's just going to make you go left. But yeah, it's an interesting situation, man. I mean, right now, I think there's so much that we can do. I think. How do you feel now that you reached the 100th episode?
I feel great. Like, I feel like really proud of myself for getting to this point, because I feel like if somebody asked me, like, was episode 100 always a goal of yours? I would have said no, because when I was just starting off, just to, you know, do this for fun. But once I started having more episodes and I felt more comfortable reaching out to people, and then episode 50 became the goal. Then once I dropped episode 50, episode 100 became the goal. So, you know, I really worked hard just to get to this point with school, work. I dropped the book a few months ago. That took a lot of hard work doing that. So I did all of those activities while managing this podcast, and I never quit or gave up or stopped absolutely completely, even though there were times where I felt like it, but I continued to stay encouraged. I pressed forward, and now here I am with 100 episodes. This teaches me that I can endure, you know, anything that comes in my way, even though it may not seem like it in the moment. Because again, you know, I have ruminating thoughts. I ruminate sometimes, and I get in my own head, and I get in my way sometimes, but I just continue to press forward. You know, I was listening to an interview with Joe Biden, you know, the other day, and he said, you know, the real heroes are the ones who get up in the morning and they press forward, and they, you know, they pick themselves up and they keep going despite what they go through mentally. Because we all have troubles, we all have difficulties, but if you can just get up every day in the morning and just do what you got to do, then that's what makes you a real hero. Because I've been through a lot the past year, but, you know, I overcame. I'm still overcoming. I can't say that I'm completely done with it yet, but the fact that I'm celebrating 100 episodes a day shows me that, you know, I'm a pretty strong person, and I got to give myself that credit.
I agree. I mean, me being your uncle and me seeing what you've endured the last year, I would have to say I've seen a huge progression and progress and growth in your life. And again, not, you know, as you live your life, you're always going to be, there's always going to be some punch to the gut, you know what I mean, that you're going to have to just endure, you know what I mean? But again, it's those scars, those are just battle scars, I think, of life that you can look back and you can kind of smile at, in a sense, to realize that it's got you where you are. You know what I mean? You know, some people say they have no regrets. And me personally, I have regrets on life. You know, I don't know why a person would say they don't have regrets, but, you know, I think just saying you have regrets, I think, is to accept that, you know, that there were mistakes that's made. You know what I mean? And you learn from your mistakes. Some people learn from them. But looking at your podcast and reaching that 100th episode, I mean, now, speaking of mental health, do you feel like, is there a bit of anxiety now? Realizing that, okay, I've reached the 100th episode. Now, all right, now what? Are you there? I mean, do you have that anxiety about what your next step is?
I do, because, you know, I feel like nobody else is putting the pressure on me. I'm the one that's putting the pressure on myself. Sure. Yeah, because I feel like now that I've gotten to my 100th episode, how do I push the envelope even further? Like, how far can I go? Like, what's my next step or my next challenge that I can do with this podcast?
Right.
And the one thing I've been trying to do is just enjoy the moment and enjoy producing and making episodes. Like, you should always challenge yourself. Even in life, you should challenge yourself, because it's always good to accomplish stuff that you didn't think you would do. But one thing I've been trying to learn is just enjoying the moment. Like, right now I'm sitting here with you recording this podcast episode. Mm-hmm. Who's to say that this could ever happen again? You know, Never say never, but this is a pretty good moment right now.
Absolutely.
And I'm savoring everything in. Because I remember when I first started doing the podcast, I would see these people and they had all these followers, like 1,000 followers, 2,000 followers. And I'm thinking, man, if I can get them on my show and they advertise my podcast, I'm going to have more viewers and I'm going to generate a lot of revenue. And that's going to bring me more listeners and that's going to make me more popular. And then I would do the episode with those people. And sometimes it wouldn't be great because we had absolutely nothing in common. They didn't feel comfortable with me. So I felt like a terrible interviewer at the end of it. And it made me feel less encouraged when I should have had the mindset of, this person just gave me their time out of their day to want to talk to me. And I can take this opportunity to learn something from them, see if I can implement some of that into my life and change my life for the better. So once I started learning how to do that, the episodes became more easier and it didn't feel like a challenge. And that's just something I have to keep in the back of my mind. You know, it's not all about the views and it's not all about the money. Like, this is just fun for me, getting the chance to speak with people on a personal, vulnerable level and learn something from them. So I think if I can carry that mindset in the back of my mind, that can take this podcast really far in the direction that I would like for it to go.
Right. And I say personally, if anything a person does in their life that they want to pursue, I would hope that you have some passion for it. And with passion, you have enjoyment out of it. You get enjoyment out of it. I mean, I hope people, including myself, from my own mistakes and things that mistakes that I've made in the past about just pursuing things and seeking to achieve things based off of just a monetary gain. That's not a good way of looking at things at all. Because, as they say, you make the money, don't let the money make you. You know what I mean? So with this podcast, your intent, I would hope, would be to not just encourage people or give people insight of life and how to, just the path they take in this world, whether, struggles that they have and things to that degree, and realizing there's other people that they can relate to, but just that you get enjoyment of doing it, So, and that's just me with trying my boxing, the platform that I'm trying to build with the sport of boxing. I have a passion for it. I love the sport, just like someone who talks about football or someone who talks about, fashion, or an individual who likes to go into the industry of cooking. I think you have to have some kind of love for it when you get into it. Don't just chase it because of the dollar, because again, you setting yourself up for failure because you want to be a 6-figure person or a 7-figure man or woman, but realize there's going to be sacrifices and compromises that you have to make for that dollar. And so I say, whatever you're seeking in this world, or whatever industry that you want to get in, just make sure you have some kind of love and you have an affinity for it, because in the end, at least you can say when you wake up and you do it, you get enjoyment out of it. Because it might be the days where if you do have a platform like this, or you don't have the viewers, or it's looking kind of vacant right now as far as your guests and things, you still enjoying it when somebody is on there. It may not be the most popular person with 1 million followers, or it might be someone no one's ever heard of before. But I think when you have the conversation with that person, when you have that conversation with that person, you gain some insight from them, and allows you to continue living your life, because it puts certain things in perspective when you had that conversation, to be like, I never thought about that. And I think stuff like that is worth more than money. You know what I mean? Because, giving insight and realizing that it puts certain things it gives you that insight on parts of your life, that allows you to continue living life.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, definitely make sure that whatever you're doing, make sure you have a passion for it and you do enjoy it and you have a love for it. Mainly, you got to have a love for whatever you're doing in this world. Don't just chase the dollar. Please don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. I think with having 100 episodes, having hundreds of hours of content and everything, I've had some really great conversations with really great people, and some of those conversations have really changed my life for the better. Like, I found like pretty good friends just from this podcast, whereas before I was just to myself on my island by myself. I didn't think I needed anybody, but I've made a lot of friends, a lot of companions with this podcast, and so it's definitely changed my life for the better. And yeah, like you said, I have a passion for it. I could probably not do a podcast for 2 weeks, and then once I hit that record button, it's like I'm natural with it, with my questions and everything. Everything flows great, and so I love it a lot. So I think this is definitely something I'd love to do for the rest of my life, really. Even if I don't blow up, just a chance to interview and get to know somebody. I think that's something I would love to do.
I believe that, as long as you continue pressing on with whatever it is that, again, you have that passion for, it may not be overnight, it may not be several months, it may not be several years, but at some point, if you continue pursuing it, it's going to grow. It's going to become something positive. And even if it, with this platform or whatever, we talking about your platform right now for a second, as an example, is that whether you become the next big thing on Spotify or the next big thing on Apple, where everyone's talking about it and you got millions of subscribers or followers, or if you only just have, say, 500 people listening, as long as your goal is for the improvement of, positivity and motivation and talking about, the things that people experiencing are going through in life and to just kind of better their lives, that should be, again, worth 1 million followers and 1 million listeners. Is if it's not getting through, the message is still not getting through. You know what I mean? The goal is, I feel like the goal here is to create something that's relatable for people to be able to take a step back and reflect, I think. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just take that with them wherever they go. And again, if you only have just a few people listening, and if they're all listening and all taking away from this something, again, that's worth more than, me personally, I think that's worth more than millions of dollars. I know some people probably say you're crazy for that. But if you're not doing something positive that people can get something out of, something enjoyable, something again, something sincere, something that's dare I say pure, something, I feel like, man, that's worth all the money in the world, worth more than gold, I feel like. But you just have to be sincere with it, and again, you have to come off in a natural and organic way with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And people can pick up on that. I feel like people can sense that. So that's what I think.
I feel you. With 2021, we're halfway through the year. It's crazy to say that, but we halfway through the year. What are some of the things you're hoping to accomplish as we continue to progress on as the year goes on?
I think mainly health for me right now. This COVID thing. We talked about, in the last podcast from last year, we talked about health and, eating right and things to that degree. And dare I say, I put on a couple of the COVID-15, but, and I think that's the main thing, because I think my doctor was saying your cholesterol was just a little high. Mm-hmm. So in the last month, I joined the gym in the last month. So, I just been going to the gym, if not every day, every other day. And I've lost probably like 12 pounds in the last maybe month.
Yeah.
So
I've noticed.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it and I'm feeling it a little bit.
That's good.
So I personally got a doctor's appointment on Wednesday, so I want to see what he's going to tell me. But yeah, I think that's a big focus on mine. I would really like to get my platform talking about the sport of boxing again. I'm working on that. So that's a big, what do you call that? a passion project.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's on my agenda. And just kind of hopefully, as far as my parents, your grandparents, just hopefully trying to get them, as far as health wise, trying to allow them to eat better. I want them to eat better, and just get them on a better health regimen and things to that degree. But I think this year is going to be health for the remainder of this year. So we'll see how it goes. But right now I feel like is in a positive direction. So
yeah, I think my mental health is definitely a big thing I want to focus on for the rest of this year. But also physical health, like you said too, because I come from a family that suffers from a lot of health issues, diabetes, high blood pressure, and whatnot. I've been doing great with my eating. Been doing great with that. Started drinking smoothies in May, and that's been helping me out a lot. Also, I feel more energized. I feel fresh when I have a smoothie in the morning, or I'll make something and put it in the fridge for work, and I'll drink that for like lunch or something with snack on some fruit. I'll feel energized and whatnot. So definitely with my health, start lifting again, bulk up a little bit. But I think besides that, those are my goals for the remainder of the year.
Right. How's that? How's the fast food thing going?
Oh, it goes all right.
It gets a little better.
It gets a little better, but I've definitely been good with like choosing what I eat and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I choose more healthier stuff on the menu.
Yeah, there you go.
Like there are times if I'm at Chick-fil-A, I'm like, I'm gonna get the grilled chicken salad.
Right.
And that's what I'm eating.
Right.
If I have that urge to go out and eat something like bad and stuff, I try to wait till like the end of the week as a way to treat myself for getting through the week. But after I eat that, I immediately jog or I work out or I just eat something healthy just to substitute that. Because I've learned in the past by not eating any healthy foods, all of that just builds up the more and more you get older. And I want to stay healthy, God willing, I want to be able to live a long, healthy life.
Absolutely.
So I got to get myself right by continuing to eat right, drink the right drinks and stuff. No sodas. I kind of had a little relapse on sodas earlier in the year, and I broke out. Had a little bit of acne.
What kind of sodas?
Sprite.
I love Sprite.
I love Sprite. I would drink Sprite, and then I would put Coke in like a cup for a little bit. I pour like a little bit in the cup, and I drink it. Yeah. And then I give the rest to my brother because he'll drink the whole thing. Oh. But after I broke out, I was like, I can't do sodas no more. And plus, I'm getting to the point now where I think I'm losing my sweet tooth.
You might be.
Yeah, because like I'll eat something sweet and I'm like, this isn't really good. Like my birthday is going to be tomorrow and we had cake today. And so I had cake and I saw all the icing. I'm like, man, this is kind of a turnoff. I don't even know if I want to eat all of it. Yeah. And so I ate all of it, but it was just, I didn't really like how sweet it was. Yeah. So I think I'm losing my sweet tooth, but that's a good thing though.
Yeah, definitely when you wean off things and you've been away for it for a while, when you go back to it, it's like a rush. It's like, man, I don't remember being this sweet. I don't remember being this salty. I don't remember being this way because you've been away for it for so long.
Right.
And I think your mind has kind of, put it in the back. And, it just kind of, you've lost the taste for it. And I've been like that with certain things. It's like, I don't remember like if you eat something like a candy bar or you just eat something. It's like, I don't remember being this sweet. I haven't had sodas in years, so I can't really talk about sodas too much. But I love Sprite, man. I don't know. Sprite is the best.
Yeah, Sprite was my thing when I was younger.
Sprite is. I'm not a dark soda person, but Sprite is everything. But but yeah, I think you lose. You just lose it. You know what I mean? You lose a craving. You lose whatever that the palate is for it. But and I think that's a good thing. It almost makes you feel like. You feel kind of bad for the people around you, like whether it be family or something, because they make you feel like me personally, I think it makes me feel like I don't want them to think I'm better than anybody.
Right.
Like I don't eat that stuff. You know what I mean? And then they want to have a piece of cake, or they want you to eat a piece of this, or what have you. And it's like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. But then they look at you in the side eye. But that's why I talk about my parents, your grandparents, I talk about, I want to get them on that kind of regimen because the things we were eating in the past, they were never good for us to begin with. Just a lot of red meat and even pork and stuff to that degree. And that was never good from the get-go. But now that you have this information in front of you that you can learn that, this is not good for you. Like, milk, thinking that drinking milk is like a big thing. Like it's it's a big positive, it's not a big benefit to you. So, these are things that you do research on. You realize I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I know Chipotle. I never ate Chipotle so much in a year. I'll say even a month. But I've been like, when I go to work out, when I leave there, I'm going to Chipotle and I'm buying like the lifestyle bowls.
Mm-hmm.
With all the vegetables and to that, all that, and the keto stuff. Trying to keep down the sugar. Anything with sugar, leave that out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you feel the effects of it. It's very beneficial, but at the same time, you do be having cravings of things, and it's just like, man, I could just go for this right now. I could just go for a slice of cheesecake, like cheesecake. Oh man, or like a pint of ice cream, but like the Ben & Jerry's strawberry cheesecake ice cream. Man, that's the die for. But you find a way to just try to overcome that. That's, again, if we talking about uncomfortable situations, man. But again, you just have to try to endure those things, those habits, and try to just override them. And eventually you see the positive side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much, I think that's a plus if you can just overcome those things, especially the health benefits behind it. So yeah.
One thing I think I want to get back to eating breakfast because earlier in the year I was eating breakfast like every morning, like getting up, cooking eggs or something like that, eating a bagel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now it's just like I get up in the morning, I'll snack on like one orange and stuff, but I'm waiting till lunch to fully eat.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to get that full balance, like nutrition. Like they say, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Mm-hmm. I think it is, but it's something I gotta get back in the habit into.
Right. But I guess breakfast is whatever you make it.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like some people, a banana will get them through. Mm-hmm. Some people need, like you said, like a bagel and some tea. And some people, they need to have a hearty breakfast. You know what I mean? Some people need like eggs fried hard, some home fries, turkey sausage or something. But that's a breakfast for some people.
Yeah.
But some people, that'll just put you right to sleep. And so I think breakfast is good though. It definitely needs something. Some people just have trail mix or what have you. But I think breakfast is whatever you make it, and whatever. Now I'm hearing people say I'm eating. I'm eating not to be full, but eating to be content, I think, or something to that degree. Is not, you don't eat to just be full, but you eat just to be content, just to hold you over, I think. And it makes sense. And I mean, that's just like people saying, I don't eat to live. No, I don't live to eat. I eat to live. So you being mindful about what you eat. It's not just indulge in whatever you want, whenever you want. But now's the time. Now more than ever have I seen people be health conscious.
Right.
And that's a great thing. I think we everybody needs to be health conscious, especially what a lot of these manufacturers are putting in the ingredients to this stuff. So you got to be conscious about the things that you're putting in your body.
Right.
We all need to be.
Right. One thing I will say though, before I get to the last question, is now that I'll be 21 tomorrow. Now that I'm getting older, now people are asking me, "Hey, do you want to drink of this? Do you want a sip of this wine or something like that? You want some alcohol?" And it's like, no. Like, that's just a turn off to me, which I think is good. I just don't want to indulge in that stuff really. So it's like every time I see it, I just don't have that desire to really drink. I don't think I'm gonna be a drinker
Right.
now that I'm 21. Because lots of people have asked me, "Hey, you gonna be 21? You gonna party? You gonna turn up and stuff?" I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna go home and go to sleep after work.
Some people are not partiers like that. You have introverts, you have extroverts. Some people, when they're in a group of people, they get burnt out really quickly. It burns some people out. Some people enjoy the comfort of their own home, just either with a book or a good movie, or with their cat or their dog or the significant other. Some people, they just like to be, in the circle. You know what I mean? They like to be in the center of things, and that's just who you are as a person. Like I'm same way. I'm a homebody. So you have homebodies. You have people like this is boring for me. I want to do something. I want to go dancing. I want to go to a restaurant and try new delicacies and things to that degree. But everyone's different. You know what I mean? But the alcohol thing, I'm curious. When you drink alcohol, like you've tasted alcohol before, right?
I've tasted it.
Now, was your thing is that I don't like it, or was the fact that it is? I know what it can do to you, so it's not for me.
Yeah, it's both. So there's sometimes I'll taste it and I'll just feel like really dirty and I'll feel really ashamed of myself. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna finish this. Right. And then I kind of realized like, okay, what if I do like this one drink? This could lead to something else. I don't want to go down that lifestyle. I've seen what it's done to family members. I know what it's like. Some family members are addicted to it. If it's true that addiction does run in the family and people do have that trait, I'm sure that trait's within me somewhere. I'm not trying to go down that road, so I just stay away from it. I drink my water. I drink my coconut water. If there's juice, I'll drink juice. But besides that, I'm not really an alcohol person, and I don't think I will be.
Yeah, you may never be, because some people, they just don't have a taste for it. Like, I don't have a taste for alcohol like that. And sometimes, you drink alcohol, you kind of were drinking it because of peer pressure and things to that nature. But mostly, you're the type of some people, again, I talk about the palate and what people have a taste for. Alcohol is something, man, that if you have to drink it and you have to allow it to grow on you, where you grow to love the taste for it, I think that's just you being forced to just do stuff with other people, just like chewing tobacco. I don't think I know anybody who chews tobacco anymore like that. But, there were people, teenagers when I was in school who would actually chew tobacco. And, they used to keep like a can, like an empty can. Yep. And they used to just spit in it. Like, you had people in school?
Yeah, I had people in school who would chew it and then they would spit it into the bottles.
Right.
Disgusting.
And I'm just thinking, how did you pick up on that trait? Because I just remember growing up and the older guys, they were chewing tobacco like that and spitting it and everything. I'm like, how did we as high schoolers, 14, 15, 16 years old, get on chewing tobacco? Maybe smoking cigarettes, but I can't figure out chewing tobacco. Like, I may have chewed tobacco once just to see how it tastes, and I don't know. I don't know. To this day, I don't know how you can do it. It'll put hair on your chest, but it's things like that, man. It's peer pressure to everything, and if it's not for you, like the alcohol thing, it's just not you. I say stick to it and don't succumb to those pressures, man, of people wanting you to do things just to either fit in. Because again, it's just it's a recipe for disaster when you fall under that kind of pressure. So yeah, I commend you for saying that's not you. You'll sit over here. I'll drink this water. I'll sip this water throughout the duration of me being here with you guys, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I just I like watching people. I like observing people.
See,
Papa,
I agree.
Yeah, Papa calls it monkey juice because once you're in that zone, you act like a monkey and you just act crazy. So usually, if I'm in situations or I'm in settings where all that's going on, I'll just sit on the couch. I'm talking with one person. I'll just watch everybody just act crazy, do all this stuff that they normally wouldn't do. So
right.
It's entertainment for me.
Yeah, just being not a people person, but a people watcher. And yeah, that's basically what you. You watch it from a distance just so if anything does explode or pop off with someone, you're in a distance where you can watch and enjoy these people. Sadly, but sometimes you get a kick out of people just doing things that any other time they wouldn't be doing because it's basically what they call liquid courage. Yep. So now people are acting a certain way, but at least you'll be a spectator in this sport. So. That's funny, man, because I'm the same way. I'm the very same way. Right.
If you have one quote that you've heard in your life that you could close the show out with, what would you say?
Oh, man, one quote?
One quote. Maybe two or three.
Oh, man. That's an interesting one. That's an interesting question. One quote. One that just stands out is just don't sweat the little things. Just don't sweat the little things. And I know it's easier said than done. But if you really look at it and just say don't sweat the little things, it's a lot of things in this world. The scripture talks about strain at a gnat but swallow a camel. I don't know if you ever heard it, but it's those little things in life that bother us. But it's the big things that you should be frustrated over, but you don't let those things get to you. But then it's the little things, like someone may have cut you off in front, cut you off on the road, or a coworker may have done something, I don't know, something petty, and you just can't get over it. It's just the little things like that you just should not bother yourself with. It's not the end of the world, but we tend to just harp on these things, and we just don't let them go, and we just don't just put it to the side and just move on with our lives. So I say, don't sweat the little things. Just focus on those things that'll just improve your life and better your situation. Focus on those things and not those little things that, honestly, once you move yourself from it, it's out of your mind. But, some people, we just can't let things go. But you got to let it go. Don't sweat those little things.
Right. I think I'm slowly getting better at that, letting go of the little things. Quick little side story before we wrap up. Last week at work, I was playing foosball with one of the boys there, one of the kids, and they tried cheating when I walked away. And I was like, nah, change the point back. You was cheating. I was like, you think I'm stupid? And one of the girls was like, actually, you kind of are stupid, Mr. Cedric. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I am stupid. I roll with it.
Yeah.
If that was me 2 years ago, I would have went off. I would have took it to heart. I would have carried that with me. In this situation, I just rolled it off my shoulders. I know I'm not stupid, and I know she's just messing with me. There's no reason in getting my blood pressure up and getting boiled up over what some 8-year-old just said to me.
Yeah.
But again, it's just the little things like that. Because again, we all have big things on our mind. We all got things that we're going with. Mm-hmm. But if I had sweat over that one, little thing, that would have put a damper on my entire day.
Yeah.
But like you say, we can't sweat over the little things. It's better to focus on the big things, focus on getting through those difficult storms so you can move on to the next.
Yeah, it's the significance of the matter. I think, like you said, the significance, what does it do for you? Does it benefit you at all? Does it make or break you, really? You shouldn't be losing sleep over these little things. Like you say, playing foosball and someone calling you stupid. Again, the situation. You know who you are as a person. And I hope anyone who's listening to this, and if you're of a certain age, honestly, if you're in middle school or something, obviously you're still finding yourself as a person. But if you're a grown adult, you should to some degree know what your principles are, your belief. You should have some kind of foundation. And you should understand what is of value to you in your life. Find out what the values are in your life and stick to them. And again, just put all that other frivolous things to the back and keep pushing on, because I think I explained to you one time, basically when you drive in a car and you look in the rear view mirror, whatever those things that bothered you, as you drive along and you look at those problems in that rear view mirror, they'll get smaller and smaller and smaller and be of less significance. So I just say, just keep looking forward, moving forward, and watch those things of those problems. Watch them just fade away, I think. But you have to continuously move forward. And that's what I say. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Sean, for your time. Being a guest on the 100th episode, man. This was a really great conversation. I'm glad we was able to connect, do this, learn some new things. And
Absolutely.
You've always been a big supporter of the podcast. So, thank you once again.
Always. And again, I've told you 1,000 times before, and I'll tell you another 1,000 that I'm very proud about what you have and what you're doing with this platform and where you're going with it. And I'm pretty sure as time goes on, the followers that you have and the momentum that you're building with this whole content creation that you're doing with this platform, there's a lot of positivity, and a lot of people out here need the positivity. And I'm hoping and praying that it just more success to you in this thing here you got going on.
Yup.
So I'm flattered, man. Till the next one.
All right. This wraps up the episode. Stay blessed and stay encouraged.